What is sportsmanship? Welcome to the Racing Etiquette. In this section, you will be learning about sportsmanship, an important element in everyone's participation in the online races of Gran Turismo. The history of sports is as old as human history, and the definition of sports is said to be as numerous as there are researchers in the field. But when you get to the bottom of it, a sport is a challenge against yourself, a challenge against a rival, and above all else is something to enjoy and have fun with. A sport is something you enjoy together with others. For this, there is sportsmanship, the attitude you must have when you partake in a sport. So, what is sportsmanship? Everyone knows that all sports have rules. And of course, one element of sports is that you must follow the rules. But even if you set lots of detailed rules, you can't judge all incidents during an actual sport just with rules. That's where sportsmanship becomes important. Sportsmanship can also be called the spirit of fair play. And in addition to being fair and just, sportsmanship also means that you don't do things that make you look bad. To avoid doing things to anyone that makes you look bad. That's the core idea behind sportsmanship that is beyond rules. Motorsport is called a non-contact sport. That means it is a sport which does absolutely not allow contact with others. But in order to achieve this, it is not enough to have a strict set of rules. It is extremely important that everyone works to avoid doing things that make you look bad. Various examples of improper driving. Let's talk about some examples of unsportsmanlike behaviour and actions you shouldn't do on track. Applying the brakes too late, leading to a rear-end collision. Overshooting the corner because you were too late on the brakes and failed to overtake the car in front. Worst of all is dive bombing, where a driver is unable to stop within track limits and rams into other cars, ruining the race for themselves as well as their opponents. Even keeping these points in mind, you may end up becoming too overzealous during a race, braking too late and on your way to collide with the car ahead of you. In these cases, you should not only hit the brakes, but you should also do everything in your power to avoid the car in front, even if that means taking your car off the track. These are mistakes that often happen amongst beginners, so it's best to be cautious when starting out. Set clear braking targets for reference, so you know exactly where to apply the brakes on the track. Also, weaving back and forth, edging out others, pushing others off the track are all examples of improper driving. Leave at least one car width between your own car and your opponent's, even during close encounters. If you are new to online racing, begin by assessing the situation to avoid impeding others. In doing this, you will gradually develop an awareness of your surroundings. Next, how can you protect yourself from these types of accidents? During a race, it is not easy to communicate your intentions to the other drivers, but by monitoring the other cars around you, you will begin to understand the tendencies of each car and driver, and their skills. If you feel that a driver is being a bit dangerous, or that they are not yet used to their car's behaviour, then think about positioning yourself accordingly so that you can avoid any incidents that may develop. And finally, a time penalty may be issued in online races for the following reasons. Track cutting, crossing the white line when entering or leaving the pit, colliding with another car, time penalties received for such instances are served at designated penalty lines on the track where the car automatically slows down. If you do receive a penalty, make sure to give way as much as possible so that you do not impede the other cars. Thank you for adhering to these guidelines and helping maintain an enjoyable online racing experience for all.